What's going on, family? This is Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. This is not a grudge match. This is a fight that I actually don't like doing the research on. But this is just a segment of scrapbook research. I just wanted to share a little research that I have to do between two great fighters, Henry Armstrong, Sugar Ray Robinson. They fought August 27th, 1943. Sugar Ray Robinson was on the way up. As a matter of fact, he was on the undercard of Henry Armstrong and Fitzy Zivic, October 4th, 1940. That's when the great Ray Robinson would dethrone Louis Valentine for the 1940 lightweight division Golden Gloves. And he would turn professional October 4th, 1940, on the undercard of Henry Armstrong and Fitzy Zivic, when Armstrong was defending his welterweight championship bout. And they've been friends ever since. But it's one of the passing of the thrones. The new up-and-coming fighter would have to take the baton away from the old-time great fighter. And this is what we have here. So let's just take a look at their career and take a look at the article that I have to do research on. Let's do it right here in the Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. Now this is the great Sugar Ray Robinson. Walker Smith, pound for pound, greatest fighter of all times. Now I have Ray Robinson rated number 3 in the entire history of the game. And I have Henry Armstrong rated number 4 in the entire history of the game. Now Ray Robinson, Walker Smith, born May 3rd, 1920, Detroit, Michigan. He was 5'11", and was managed by George Gainford. He won a Golden Gloves featherweight title in 1939 and a lightweight title in 1940 in New York, in the inner city competition. As you can see here, he engaged in 85 amateur bouts, has 69 KOs and 40 in the first round, and he boxed as Walker Smith. And he began his professional debut, 1940, October 4th, on the undercard of the great Henry Armstrong. Now Henry Armstrong, born December 12th, 1912, Columbus, Mississippi. He weighed 145 pounds and was managed by Eddie Meade and Wirt Ross. He fought early in his career as Medley Jackson. Now this is 1940. October 4th, Fitzy Zivic, New York City, lost 15 rounds and lost the World Welterweight Championship. This is the same year and the same date that Ray Robinson would begin his professional debut. And as you can see here, August 27th, 1943, he would face Ray Robinson, New York. He would lose to him in 10 rounds. This would be Madison Square Garden. But as you can see here, August 14th, he fought Joey Silva. Defeated him in 10 rounds. He fought Jimmy Garrison. Defeated him in 10 rounds. 1943. Now, Jimmy Garrison, there's a lot of controversy. I'll get into it another time, but Jimmy Garrison is the opponent, where there was controversy with Ray Robinson. I know the entire story. I'll share it with you another time. But again, Ray Robinson, August 27th, 1943, Madison Square Garden. That's where he fought the young phenomenon. And as we get into Ray Robinson's record, 1943. February 5th, he would face Jason LaMotta. in Detroit, and he would lose to him in 10 rounds. That would be Ray Robinson's first defeat. February 5th, 1943, against Jake LaMotta. February 19th, Jackie Wilson, New York City. He would defeat him in 10 rounds. February 26th, Jake LaMotta again, Detroit, and he would defeat him in 10 rounds. April 30th, Freddie Carbo in Boston, knock him out in 1 round. July 1st, Ralph Zanelli, Boston. He would defeat him in 10 rounds. Then August 27th, Henry Armstrong, New York. He would defeat him in 10 rounds. Again, that would be 1943. Now, Robinson would have 6 fights that year. Let's see how many fights Armstrong had. Now, Armstrong would have 13 fights in 1943. He would have 12 fights before he would face Ray Robinson. Robinson would have 5 fights before he faced Henry Armstrong. And Armstrong was undefeated in 43 before he faced Robinson. Robinson lost 1 fight in 43 before he faced Armstrong. Henry Armstrong, a phenomenal fighter. The only fighter to hold 3 titles simultaneously. Sugar Ray Robinson, greatest fighter pound for pound. Dynamic fighter. And these two would get it on August 27th, 1943. Now, this is my research. I have 50 books like this, 50 pages each. And here you have Ray Robinson outpoints Henry Armstrong in the Garden encounter, August 27th, 1943. Attempting to overcome the most difficult obstacle he has faced in his highly successful comeback, which netted him 23 victories in 26 bouts. Henry Armstrong, former simultaneously holder of 3 championships, faced Corporal Ray Robinson, hard-hitting welterweight in a feature bout of 10 rounds at Madison Square Garden last night. Robinson, a prohibitive favorite, won a decision. Armstrong weighed 140, and Robinson weighed 145. The crowd was estimated at 12,000. Robinson was a 3-1 favorite. Frank Foreman was the referee, and the judges were Bill Haley and Joe Agnello. And I'm going to go over this a little bit later on my own, but I just give you a round-by-round synopsis as to what goes on in those particular fights. The papers always treated you to the round-by-round coverage in case you couldn't see the fight. Robinson slips dozen left jabs to the head and then held and wrestled with Hank. See, Hank was putting a lot of aggression and pressure on Robinson. Hank couldn't find range. Ray flicked left to Hank's head. Ray blocked left hooks to the body. Ray sent sharp lefts to the right to the jaw. Lefts and rights to the jaw, excuse me. Ray washes up Hanks. 15,371 in Garden. They all boo because they had that much respect for Henry Armstrong. Again, August 27, 1943. Lights went out on a brilliant career of Henry Armstrong, only boxer to hold 3 world titles simultaneously, when a once great boxer announced for the 2nd time his retirement from the ring after being soundly trounced by Corporal Ray lackluster 10 round. See, Ray Robinson was a corporal because at that time he was in the military. Robbie defeats Armstrong, August 27th, 1943. There's another article. Corporal Ray, U.S. Army, welterweight, returns to the ring. Wars after 6 months. And this is the Madison Square Garden. And again, it just breaks down exactly what happened in the fight. So I just want to thank you for hanging in there with me. This is Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. I just wanted to go over a couple of things in this fight because I'm doing some research. And once again, this is where I do my research. I have 50 of these books. Basically has all the fights in the entire, covered the entire boxing all over the world in 1940s. And I have them for the 1930s. I have them for the 1920s. And I have direct source. So I can look back and you know, look and see exactly what the newspapers said. And so on and so forth. So thanks again for hanging in there with me. This is Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. All great fighters and all great fights will never be forgotten on my channel. Salute to Henry Armstrong. Salute to Sugar Ray Robinson. Salute to my subscribers. Peace.